Hey, what's up everybody? This is Jacob West with Evernest Property Management Detroit. Here to talk to you guys today about whether you should self-manage your rental property or hire a property manager. And specifically, we're going to talk today about 5 things that you should consider when making that very important decision. So the first thing that you should consider, and probably the one that people think about first, is time and energy. So do you have the time and energy to do the things that you need to do, especially the physical presence required items to manage those properties? There's obviously a lot of things we can do remotely nowadays, which is great, but there are a few things that still require a physical presence. Things like move-in and move-out inspections, big one. Showings when it's on the market. Are you going to show the property yourself? Do you have time to get out there and do a lot of showings? We show that, no pun intended, we show that it takes about 10 showings to get a house leased on average. So if you live right down the street, it may be pretty easy to accomplish all these items. But if you live out of state, out of the country, or even just as far as an hour away, for example, it could become a real drain to go out to those properties frequently, especially if you have a larger portfolio that's maybe scattered across a metro area. The second thing that you should think about is tenant screening. So when you're looking for new residents for your rental property, you really want to make sure that you get great residents that are going to pay rent on time, they'll take care of the property, and do all the things that make your life easier as a property owner. And do you trust yourself to screen your own tenants? Some people wouldn't trust anyone else to screen their tenants for them, but for people that maybe don't have as much expertise in the area, that don't feel like going through potentially dozens of applications for each property. Again, we go back to the time spent there, or maybe people who just don't know which softwares to use, what tools they can use to collect those applications. Do you have a property manager with a guarantee of some kind that will compensate you if a resident ends up not paying? If you have a property manager, some property managers, including Evernest, do offer a resident guarantee, but if you're doing it on your own, no guarantees. So there's definitely a bit of a trade-off there as well. Third thing would be maintenance. So when you get maintenance requests from residents, there are a lot of things that you're responsible for doing as a landlord, legally speaking. Making sure that the property is safe and habitable, making sure that it meets city compliance requirements. And then there are also things that make your residents happy, like addressing items quickly. So if you as a property owner, let's say a lot of people who manage their own properties have a construction background, or they own a general contracting business or something like that. You might be in really great shape to get all those items done in a way that's going to keep your houses in good condition and your residents happy. But maybe if you don't have any maintenance experience, or you're managing or owning a property that's not in your hometown, where you don't have any connections with local vendors, it could be a lot harder for you. And obviously managing those vendors is almost like managing employees, even though they don't only work for you, which actually can make it harder sometimes. They've got their own priorities as well. The fourth thing would be just generally legal issues. So when you are a property owner or landlord, it's important to have a really good knowledge of a few different things. Fair housing is a really big one, making sure you know that you're abiding by all fair housing laws. Leases, very important to know what your lease says, what everything means on it. If you're going to maybe customize your lease, add something, really important to know what you're doing there, or have a competent attorney review that. Then the last thing, item 5, is, are you ready to have difficult conversations on a regular basis? This is one of the big ones. So as property managers, we don't always get to deliver good news. We have to collect from residents, when they maybe are struggling to pay. We have to tell residents that certain maintenance items won't be addressed. No, we can't paint all of your rooms for you just because you've lived there for a year. You can if you want to as a property owner, but the answer is not always yes to those requests. We have to, unfortunately, sometimes evict tenants, which is obviously a very difficult conversation. And then you sometimes have to have difficult conversations with, vendors a lot of times. Was this work done to our satisfaction? No, you need to go back out there and fix it. And all those things are tough conversations. Nobody likes having those kind of, direct feedback kind of conversations. It's uncomfortable. And that's one of the things that we do get pretty good at as property managers, because we have to do it a lot. And it's one of those things, even being in the business for a while, that it is draining. It's never going to not be draining. Having hard conversations it takes more energy than having easy conversations. Those are the 5 things that we recommend you consider before deciding whether you should self-manage your properties or hire a property manager. If you have any other questions about property management or any other things you should ask when making that important decision, you can visit us at evernest.co, or you can shoot us an email at support@evernest.co.